These were the craziest, most shocking moments in the NFL in 2025, and the first one came before the season even began when the best defensive player in the league got traded. Micah Parsons had a Hall of Fame start to his career and was looking to be compensated for such. The issue is that Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys didn't want to pay him, so he requested a trade, and at first it seemed like nothing was going to come from it until this happened a week before the season began.
Tom Pelissero here with some breaking news into the NFL Network newsroom. Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer. This is not a drill. This is not April Fool's Day.
After the Cowboys refused to pay up, Green Bay went all in, making Parsons the highest paid defender in history at nearly $50 million a year. The Packers became instant Super Bowl favorites, starting the season with a dominant 9-3-1 record. Parsons was playing like an MVP, racking up 12.5 sacks in just 13 games. But in a Week 15 clash against Denver, the entire season changed in an instant.
Out of the backfield's Mims. He gets the ball and able to spin out of the tackle. Great effort by Mims.
And oh no, Micah Parsons. This is Micah down.
We're talking about the hopes for this season.
A torn ACL would put Parsons on the sidelines for the rest of the year. Without their $50 million anchor, the Packers' elite defense completely imploded. They lost every single game for the rest of the year. They ended up limping into the playoffs as a shell of themselves, facing their fiercest rival in the wild card. Playing at Soldier Field, the Packers watched their season die as the Bears pulled off a historic 18-point comeback. While Micah could only watch from crutches, the dream of a Lombardi trophy officially vanished in a 31-27 heartbreak. But this next game had a choke job so bad, the team who lost had a 99.8% chance at winning the game and couldn't pull it out. In a Week 7 match against the Giants, the Broncos were dead. Buried, shut out for 3 straight quarters with only 81 yards of offense. But what happened next was the most insane 15 minutes of football in NFL history. Trailing 26-8 with just 10 minutes left, the Giants had a 99.8% chance to win. Therefore, nobody, not even the fans in the stands, expected Bo Nix to suddenly turn into prime Peyton Manning. Denver's offense exploded, scoring touchdowns on 4 consecutive drives. The defense chipped in with a massive interception, and suddenly, a 19-0 shutout turned into a 30-26 Broncos lead. But Jackson Dart and the Giants had one last punch left.
Dart will run it himself and dives, and short inside the 1. And he missed that one again.
With no timeouts and 37 seconds to save the season, Bo Nix stepped up and delivered 2 cold-blooded deep balls to get into field goal range. The stadium that was silent an hour ago was now shaking as Will Lutz stepped up for the game winner.
39-yard field goal for the win. He got it! Denver's won!
The Broncos win 33-32. They scored 33 points in the fourth quarter, the most ever for a team that was shut out for the first 3, and the second most ever in a fourth quarter in NFL history. Nix finished with 4 total touchdowns in the fourth quarter alone, proving he's got the clutch gene. It was another classic New York choke job, adding to a season full of blown double-digit leads. But this team was pulling off fourth quarter comebacks like that on a daily basis. The Chicago Bears made a living this year by always coming up clutch in the fourth quarter. In their games against the Raiders, Bengals, Commanders, Giants, and Vikings, they notched the game-winning score all within the final 2 minutes of the game. So when they faced the Packers late in the season, down 16-6, 5 minutes left, and the division title on the line, it felt like everyone knew what was coming. Caleb put the team and the city on his back, tying the game up with just seconds to go, and he would then throw the dagger during overtime.
Looking downfield, launching downfield, going for it all! It is caught!
That legendary win clinched the division for the Bears for the first time since 2018 and set up an epic rematch with the Packers in the wildcard round. However, by the fourth quarter, the Bears were down 21-9 and appeared to be finished. Therefore, the stage was set for the biggest comeback in the history of the oldest football rivalry.
Get to the Green Bay 49. Williams chased, throws, and it's caught at the 30-yard line. In the pocket, fires, caught, touchdown! Olamide Zaccheaus into the end zone. Williams throwing, and it's caught for the touchdown by DJ Moore.
Chicago exploded for 25 points in the final frame. Caleb Williams was clinical, hitting DJ Moore for the go-ahead score with just 1:43 remaining. The defense was able to hold firm, and the Bears got their first playoff victory since 2010 in the only way they knew how. But one of the coolest moments that no one expected from the season was this 20-plus-year-old record finally falling. After just 4 sacks in his first 6 games, Myles Garrett went absolutely nuclear during the middle of the season, racking up a staggering 17.5 sacks in the next 8 games. So by December, the entire world was on record watch every time the Browns took the field. Sitting at 22 sacks entering week 17, Garrett needed just 1 more to stand alone. But his rivals in Pittsburgh had other plans. The Steelers spent the entire game plan triple teaming him, desperate to protect TJ Watt's share of the record. So with 1 more game left to get to the record, the pressure was on the Browns star to break it. Garrett even had a nightmare the night before the finale that he'd fall short. With only 5 minutes left in the game, it seemed like Michael Strahan's and TJ Watt's record would live another year, until this happened.
First down. Burrow, he's under pressure, he's set.
It was his teammates hoisting him onto their shoulders as he officially passed Strahan and Watt. 23 sacks, 33 tackles for loss, 1 legendary season. Myles Garrett proved that when you're a one-of-one athlete, even triple teams can't stop you from making history. But in a season already spiraling out of control, the Kansas City Chiefs just faced their worst nightmare. Patrick Mahomes going down with a season-ending injury, possibly ending their dynasty. Let's rewind a bit. After tons of close wins and a blowout Super Bowl loss last year, critics called the Chiefs frauds. They started 2025 with an up-and-down 6-5 record, but every single win came against bottom-tier teams. Because of that, by December, the dynasty was already on life support. Back-to-back losses on national TV left KC at 6-7 and officially eliminated from the division. But as long as number 15 was under center, fans believed that they could still run the table and sneak into a wildcard spot. It all came down to a Week 15 clash against the Chargers, where if they lost, they would be fully eliminated from the playoffs. With less than a minute left and the season on the line, Mahomes took an awkward low hit while trying to make a play. It left the stadium silent as the 3-time Super Bowl MVP grabbed his left knee in pure agony.
The left knee. Yep.
The diagnosis was the one thing Chiefs Kingdom feared the most, a torn ACL. The Chiefs lost the game, their quarterback, and were officially eliminated from the playoffs for the first time in a decade. But the real question isn't about this season, it's whether the Mahomes-Reid dynasty can ever recover from a massive blow like this. But something that no one expected at all was this 44-year-old legend coming off the couch for one final ride in the NFL. In November 2025, the Indianapolis Colts were the kings of the AFC. They were 8-2, sitting at the number 1 seed and looking like a lock for the Super Bowl. But then the wheels didn't just fall off, they exploded. Daniel Jones was having the comeback of a lifetime, resurrecting his career and leading a historically dominant offense. He had Indy fans feeling like they were finally out of QB purgatory. After 2 losses in a row, the Colts had a massive game with the Jaguars that had the potential to determine who won the division. But when they desperately needed a win, the worst possible thing happened.
Here comes the rush. It holds up. Flags down. Jones does hit his man, Alec Pierce. Jones is grabbing the other leg.
Yes.
Oh, he may need to come out of this game.
Jones went down with a torn Achilles, ending his season and leaving the number 1 seed without a leader. But instead of turning to a young backup, the Colts made a move that broke the internet. They called 44-year-old Phillip Rivers off the couch. Rivers hadn't played it down in 5 years, but he was back in the saddle less than a week after the call. Therefore, the entire league watched in disbelief as a grandfather then tried to save a championship run with zero practice. Rivers was brave, but he couldn't stop the bleeding. The Colts lost their final 7 games in a row, becoming the first team in NFL history to start 8-2 and finish with a losing record. But the most painful part wasn't the stats, it was watching the #1 seed miss the playoffs entirely while their rivals, the Jaguars and Texans, both made it into the postseason. The 2025 Colts will be remembered for 3 things: the greatest start in franchise history, the most pathetic collapse the league has ever seen, and 44-year-old Philip Rivers slinging it around like it was 2010 again. It's a heartbreak that Indy fans won't forget for a long time. One of the most shocking endings came all the way back in week 1. The 2025 season kicked off with a banger that saw the reigning MVP, Josh Allen, pull off the most improbable comeback of his career. For 3 quarters, Derrick Henry was unstoppable, racking up 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. So when he hit the end zone to put Baltimore up by 15 with just 4 minutes left, fans were already heading for the exits. Buffalo answered with a 4th down prayer to Keon Coleman, but they still trailed by 8. But the tables turned on the very next drive when Derrick Henry did something he almost never does.
First year player, I should say, is the man protecting, and Henry lost the football. And the Bills are down there. And they have it.
The rare fumble from Henry gave the Bills prime field positioning. Allen capitalized instantly with a rushing touchdown to cut the lead to 2. The Ravens got the ball back, needing just 1 first down to end it, but the Buffalo defense stood tall. So with 86 seconds left on the clock and no timeouts, the ball went back to the best clutch performer in the game. Allen marched the Bills 66 yards in just over a minute, setting up 41-year-old Matt Prater, who had just signed with the team 3 days prior.
From 32 yards.
A heartbreaking loss for a Ravens team that had a 99% win probability. And as heartbreaking the start of the season was for Baltimore, the ending was even more painful. After a brutal 1-5 start due to a Lamar Jackson injury, the Ravens clawed their way back to 8-8. So week 18 against the Steelers was simple: win and you're in, lose and you go home. Lamar looked like his MVP self, finding Zay Flowers for 2 massive 4th quarter touchdowns to take the lead. But the Steelers answered back with a Calvin Austin touchdown with just 55 seconds left. But a missed Pittsburgh extra point kept the lead at 2, giving Lamar Jackson one last chance to save the season. Jackson was clinical, leading a masterful drive and converting a 4th and 7 to put the ball on the 24-yard line. The stage was set for Tyler Loop to become a Baltimore legend with a 44-yard field goal to win them the division.
Snap good. Hold it. The kick is no good. It is wide right, and the Steelers are the champions of the North.